Well, it's Memorial Day weekend, and I got to tell you, there's something that I'm going to share this because we're having some technical difficulties, and it has to do with our internet speed coming into the building, so our Facebook feed is not working like it normally should. So Sandy is, thank you, going to be doing her phone, and we're welcoming our Facebook audience. But I find this interesting. Michael's church, my husband Michael's church, which is Presbyterian Church up in Xenia, Ohio, that he's the choir, music director and choir minister. And last week they do YouTube instead of Facebook. They were doing Facebook, but they had so much trouble with connectivity that they finally decided, the heck with it, they're going to do YouTube. Well, last week, YouTube went down. and his minister said, we're forgetting the whole thing. They just need to come to church if they want to hear a good message. And here we are today, so I'm telling you, Facebook audience, you might want to come and join us, because you just never know how the internet's going to work. So there's Kathy's little segment there. So it is Memorial Day. And when you ask pretty much anybody what Memorial Day means to them, what do they usually say? I'll tell you what I do out here. A 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
What else does it mean? Picnics?
Barbecue.
Hot dogs, burgers, whatever, right? We tend to get all wrapped up in that, parades, and we forget why we really celebrate. Why do we even get this 3-day weekend? And so, just to very briefly remind you that it was originally called Decoration Day, and it came back from the days of the Civil War when soldiers, they created a day where soldiers decorated graves of their fallen comrades back in the Civil War. So it was decorating their graves in Decoration Day. Decoration Day, not Declaration Day. Important to know that difference. Decoration Day. And then eventually, in I think it was 1882, that they changed it to Memorial Day. And over time, it's not only been a day to remember our fallen military, but it is also about not only fallen soldiers, but police officers, firefighters, and anyone else's job. It is to serve, protect, and defend our country, our communities, and all who live here. So I would like to, if we can, show that video. I was shocked by those numbers when I saw that. And it got to me when it came to the 22 veterans a day commit suicide. So I would like to remember those people. So I'm asking any of you that have served in the branch of services, anyone here that has served in the Army, please stand. How about the Air Force? Keep standing. Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines, Navy, National Guard, firefighters. Any police officers? Any doctors? Any nurses? Any teachers? I added teachers to the list because I think they need to be included because they are now more than ever apparently serving and defending and protecting our children. So with that, I would like to stay standing, please, as we sing America the Beautiful. And as we start to sing, I'm going to ask all of you to stand as well. And I want to just applaud you. Thank you, all of you, for your service.
Thank you.
this has been a week of remembering, and I was thinking about who sings this song? I will remember you.
Natalie and Bruin.
Sarah McLaughlin, I think it is. I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. We've no more for the memories of things. And it just came to me about, I really had a hard time coming up with the rest of this talk. I knew what I wanted to do for Memorial Day, but for the rest of the talk, and I see what time it is already, and I had named the talk, Forgiveness is My Function as the Light of the World. And I got a few notes here, and I don't even know if I'm going to use them. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. You agree you are the light in the world, right?
Right.
You were born in the image and likeness of God, that Christ is within you, and that you are innately born and adorned and adorned as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Think about that. This is some tough stuff. And I decided on the way here, I'm like, I don't know where, I got so much material on forgiveness in my own life that I don't know which one to share with you. That was me driving up here today. Which one do I share with you? And I'm like, we need to do a workshop on this. If we do nothing but come together down in Fellowship Hall and talk about stories, talk about where we're stuck on forgiveness. Because I can tell you, and I just touched on this in our Prosperity Plus class because our Monday class was about forgiveness as well. And, you know, Mary Morrissey was sharing about, she was very, very blessed and honored to have an audience with the Dalai Lama along with many other people at the same time, but she got to ask the Dalai Lama a very important question, and that was, how do you do it? After being exiled out of your country for almost 40 years, how do you not be angry, resentful, talk negative about the Chinese government who won't let you back into your own country? And he says, Chinese government. He said, there are friends, there are good friends, and then there are, good spiritual friends. Chinese government, good spiritual friend, good teacher, good spiritual teacher. And then he went on to say, I wouldn't be who I am today had it not been for the Chinese government. I wouldn't be as spiritually evolved had it not been for the strife and the struggle and the death and the punishment that Chinese government did to our people. It would not be who I am today. I can tell you that is my truth. I would not be who I am today had I not done the forgiveness work, and I continue to do the forgiveness work. And daggone it, if I wasn't sitting in my office going over a booklet and stuff, I'm like, oh, I still gotta forgive this. Has anybody ever had that where you thought you were done, and then you're not done? And it's like, when does it stop? Right? I wanted to end. That's my little pity party I was having in my office. You know, Buddhism says unforgiveness is like picking up a hot coal and wanting to throw it at the person or the event that happened, and who gets burnt? Yeah. And what's another saying? I've heard this one in 12 steps, so I don't know if that's where it originated, but it said, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Been there. Many of you have heard my story. I don't bring it up very often, but I feel like it is a good example of having to deal with major forgiveness. And you know that my first husband did some horrific things and hurt a lot of people and ended up in prison for 20 years, serving full sentence. And my kids were 4 years old and 18 months old, and we were left. And I want to try to shorten this for you, is what I'm trying to do here. And probably about year 2 of him being in prison, I was going through a self-improvement organization here that used to be here called Life Success Seminars. And I went through this 4-day seminar, and one of the days is totally focused on forgiveness, and you're supposed to bring this person into your life. And I didn't want to bring him into either my screen, a vision in my imagination, but I wanted to get over this. And through this whole weekend, what I had learned was that if I didn't do my forgiveness work, how could I love my children? Because my love for my children had an underbelly of anger towards their dad, resentment towards their dad. And so through this weekend seminar, I literally ended up not only doing forgiveness work for him. He wasn't there in the room. They don't need to be there in the room. They don't even need to be alive, people. You can do forgiveness work with anyone or anything, and it is so crucial to do it. And I was able, because he's still alive, I was able to go to prison and do face-to-face forgiveness work with him. Now for me, the only way I was able to do that was I had to picture him as a newborn baby. And I had to picture him as a perfect, innocent child. When babies are born, are they innocent or are they coming here with original sin? I gave that one up a long time ago. I was raised thinking they'd have original sin. Oh, who came up with that one? I know who. We'll talk about that another day. So, I literally had to do that in order to open my heart up completely to be able to love my children completely without anger and resentment under here, because it changed my life. I went from being a very reactive parent. Oh, they could get on my nerves in a heartbeat. They were both teenagers by this time. And they could get to me. And they saw their mother change. This is another whole story, much, much deeper behind this. But what I'm telling you is that I didn't only do forgiveness with him. And this is important to remember. Forgiveness does not mean you excuse the act or the situation or excuse the person. Forgiveness is for who? Yourself. You become free. When you forgive them, when you can look at yourself and forgive yourself. I had to do work on myself in that seminar to forgive myself for harboring these feelings of loving my children rooted in anger. I had to forgive myself for that. You know, I remember my son was probably, at that time I went to the seminar, I don't remember, so many years have passed, but there would be times when he'd be so angry he would take the picture that we had in a frame in his room of him and I, and he threw it down the steps and smashed it into 100 pieces. You know, how come I never forget that? Because it broke my heart that day, right? But why wouldn't he react that way? He had a mother that was loving him underbellied with anger and resentment. So he saw me react that way in various situations. I didn't throw things, but he saw that anger coming out of me. I don't know if this is making a lot of sense for you, because I really, it's a much longer, it truly is, I believe, a workshop that we need to have, because I think we are being called to forgiveness. Why is all this going on in our world? Why are there so many angry people? Why? Because there is very little self-love. That's what I believe. There is very little self-love. Whether they are doing this out of, what is it called, replacement theory? What's that? I don't even know if I'm using it right. Right? This conspiracy. I mean, there's so many things around all of this. But to believe in the fearful side of life tells me you don't love yourself. Why does Unity teach affirmations? And I'm looking at Mary because she is one of those, not one of my teachers. I look at her, and because she's been around Unity so long, she gets it, and she's read the Catherine Ponder, one of our favorite authors here in Unity. And the affirmations are, I am perfect child of God. I am loved. I am enough. I am perfect just the way I am. Why do we want these mantras, these affirmations? Because what is it? If you say it enough, you eventually start to believe it a little bit. Yeah. Remember I did something here in church and I told you all to look in the mirror and say, I love you, I accept you, even though I don't understand you? Yeah.
Yes.
Try it. Did any of you try it?
Yes.
Good. And are you able to go to the mirror and say, I love you, I accept you, even though I don't understand you? Yes. That's when you know you're starting to heal from this stuff. But our world is calling us majorly. You know, there's a booklet. I'm telling you, you do not have unity.org marked on your, what is that bar up there? What's it called? Where you can automatically just click on it, that easy.
Bookmark.
Bookmark. Thank you. Bookmark, unity.org. They give you these booklets. They come out almost every other month with another booklet. They are such great support materials. Can you see this? Yes. Freedom of forgiveness. There's one section in here I love, and it's too long to read, but it says a house divided. And it talks about, and it comes from Mark 3:25. And if a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand. You wonder why our world's not working? If a house is divided, it will not be able to stand. Think about your own home. Think about your own families. It will not be able to stand if it's divided. Think about our country. How divided. And we wonder why we can't heal our planet. It says, the world is a house divided. Every town and every village is filled with people who desperately long for reconciliation with each other and with God. The great teachers of humanity have repeatedly shown how reconciliation works, and it begins with forgiveness. Release the anger. Use the power of elimination to let go of the pain. See the Christ in other persons, regardless of how hurt you feel or how justifiably outraged you are. I spent a lot of years being totally justified about my anger. And by God, I could show you my file cabinet of documents that would support my anger, so you could join on my side and be angry with me. world is a house divided. The workplace is a house divided. It can be, can't it? Reconciliation is needed, even beyond the workplace, to heal divisions in our world. Instead of allowing our differences to enrich the world, the human family remains torn by prejudice and fear, which outpictures as racism, sexism, homophobia, income inequality, lingering world poverty, conflicting religious views, and endless warfare. A house divided. I'm going to end with something else out of this booklet. And I know that I'm not being able to give you a whole lot of solutions here on forgiveness, but I hope I'm giving you examples of how important it is and how damaging it is to not forgive and to do your forgiveness work. And yes, I'm with you. You've got to have some time in the world of being angry. It talks in there about journaling, and it says that you've got to journal. And think about someone you're angry with, or something, situation. Can you imagine yourself writing them a letter that's never going to be sent? Imagine writing them, and yes, cuss words can come out in it, it doesn't matter. It's you just writing and getting your feelings out. You've got to emotionally dump into a journal. That's step one. Then step two, you can do this. You can burn that letter and watch it just go up in flames if you want. However you want to do it. And then you've got to do your work. That's where we need a workshop, I think, to be able to do our work on forgiveness, and it's an ongoing process. But in this, and I actually have some extra copies of this. It's actually I copied it out of the book, and it says Keeping a Forgiveness Log. And it's a chart. And just really quick, I'll give you an example. It says, name the person, name the event or the behavior, name the feelings that you feel, the judgments that you've made. Oh, I had a bunch of those. What I was invited to learn, that's where the Dalai Lama comes in and says, what have I learned through this? Forgiveness statements, actions to take if any. There are copies in the lobby if you would like to pick up one of these charts. But I'm also going to tell you, all you have to do is go to unity.org and look under pamphlets, and you can get this for free. Just give them your name and your address, and they'll mail it, or they can download it on your computer. The freedom of forgiveness. Do you know anything about the Nagasaki tree?
No.
There is a tree of Nagasaki. After the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan to end World War II, scientists predicted nothing would grow in the resulting nuclear deserts for decades. Yet, the plants came back rather quickly. Most astonishing, a slender sapling survived the blast of Nagasaki. Today, it is a great tree that sprouts new leaves each year. The world is a house divided, but only because we believe it is so. We have accepted the error belief of separation from our world, our environment, our co-workers, our neighbors, and our families. Yet we have the power to heal. Whoa, I gotta stop. We have the power to heal. I'm looking at some of our theta practitioners out there, and I've done some theta work. If you've not ever done that, check into it. Bob and Linda, wave your hands. They're theta practitioners. They are about how you can release some of the emotional stuff that just will not let you go. There are many, many avenues to this. So how do I end this talk? What I can tell you, as a result of me doing my forgiveness work in prison with my ex-husband, I didn't become his friend. I didn't form a relationship. I didn't start writing him in prison. I just needed to go do it. And I was done. And what happened was, and most of you have seen the relationship with my kids, I have a beautiful relationship. Yeah, we have our struggles, we have our arguments, we are, yeah, but it's rooted in love. And it changed. And what it did for my kids was they saw in me that at any age, you can change. So don't ever subscribe to the belief, I'm too old, this is just the way I am. That's a bunch of bull. It's not true unless you make it true. If you want to make it true, you can. You get to choose, right? Get to choose peace or pain. It's a choice. And I'm glad, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because that taught me that I need forgiveness over and over. Yeah, on the way here, guess who I need to forgive? Oh yeah, I forgive Michael. Because he did this and this and this 7 years ago. Oh, 6 years ago. And then I was like, oh, crud, Kathy. Who do I need to forgive? I need to forgive myself for holding on to that for 6 years. That's insane. Because he's going about his thing. He doesn't even remember it. I brought it up yesterday. He's like, I don't remember any of that. I'm like, of course you don't. He's happy-go-lucky. I'm the one still miserable about that particular event six years ago. Anyway, with that, I say namaste. Christ in me. I just love looking at all of you. Christ in me truly honors and sees that Christ's presence in each and every one of you. Namaste.